Recently, a client of mine was able to save 20 hours a week by automating the creation of over 200 reports for his logistics company. What we're going to review in this video is we're going to basically take an email that comes in any form, process that information, map it to a PDF document, and have that sent out in another email to the rest of the company. This is a call that I did recently, and we're going to basically just step through beginning to end, working with N8N, Google Drive, Google Sheets, and some PDF conversion. Hang in there, there's going to be a couple of technical parts where we're going to review JSON format, and we're going to write a little bit of code, but it's going to be something easy for you to understand, and if you wait till the end, we're going to show you how you can actually apply something to the outbound messaging of your automations to really get an impact. Hi, my name is Adrian Monax, and just in the past year, I've worked with over 20 companies to automate their back office automation and automate their content marketing and just in general marketing efforts using artificial intelligence and image and video generation workflows. I've spent the past 10 years working in tech as an engineer. I've started startups, and now I really want to help businesses get to the level where they can get more sales and more customers with less effort and less expenses building a team to generate their content and their marketing. So if any of this is valuable to you, go ahead and like the video, share it with a friend, subscribe. Every little bit helps. If you're a company looking to do more marketing, create more content, and make more sales, then feel free to shoot me a message and we can find something that's right for you. Now let's get into the video.
In this example, you're basically thinking, I have a step that's repeatable. How do I automate it? I'm like spending every day creating these PDFs. How do I keep from doing that every day? And the answer is just, I want to build a system. You know, that's the first thing that comes into mind. But a system is not just this automation, okay? It's not just logging into an app and creating something, because what's going to happen is it's going to be like fragile. It'll break. Because what people do is they'll just come in and they'll say, you know, step one, and then I come through and, you know, how do I get to step 7? Okay. But what you want to do is you want to realize that there's multiple pieces to a system. You know, this is kind of like systems thinking, engineering. You're engineering these different things. Everyone talks about AI. Okay. So you need your AI, you need your large language model. You know, that's probably something that comes into place. But what you also need is your actual automation, something that takes the role of the actual action. And then it starts to get a little more detailed. You have your data. Okay. So this is like the names that you're looking at. This is like the emails. And then the last part is, you know, what you call the front end. Okay. And so this is like the UI. This is the view. So you want to think about like this problem. You know, you want to think about something that you want to build, and the steps that you're taking, the actions you're taking, and you say, I want to replace this with a system. Okay, these are the 4 pieces of the system, and each of these is optional depending on your skill set. You know, if you just want to do something you know, manually, like right now, what you're doing is you just have data and the front end. You have like the forms that you're filling out. You have the data that's maybe not stored anywhere. It's just in the emails. It's, you know, on a piece of note somewhere. But what we want to do is like use automation. Okay. We want to automate this process. And the thing is, you know, AI might not even be necessary for a lot of this. Okay. You're with me so far?
Yeah.
Me with a background as a software engineer, when I do these kinds of tools, you know, I probably don't even need a front end for what I'm doing. You know, if all this is just working with the data and getting this data stored somewhere in your business for a year later, you may not even need these other parts. So this is kind of how you want to start to think about these systems. you've got these check boxes, right? Do I need to save the information? Do I need to automate the task? Is this something that's so complicated and it's going to be dynamic and constantly changing? Do I need the AI? And then if other people are going to look at it, do I need to consider what it looks like? Does it need to be easy to use? Okay, because the thing is, this is like how really good applications work. When you're using Facebook, they have a gorgeous, when you use Facebook, they have a gorgeous front end, which saves your data, which automates your algorithm, that they improve with AI, that gives you an even better front end experience. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So, like what we're doing in this PDF project, right? Remember, we're receiving the email, and then we're inputting the fields in the document. We have our email. The email is the front end, right? We're sending an email. We're making it easy. We are extracting the data from the email, like those fields you sent over. We're automating the task of getting those fields from the PDF or from the email and putting it in a PDF. And then the AI is actually generating the document, and we're not actually like improving it over time, but that's an option there. So are you kind of seeing what I'm looking at? I'm kind of giving you like this framework, this way to think about future projects. Like, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of how you want to think about it, right? Because a lot of people will come in here and they'll just try to automate things. Okay. And so when we look at our project here, you see we've got like those same things represented. Like we have our data in the Gmail, we have our data in the saved PDFs over here, we have our AI model, and then we have the actual data we're working with in this edit fields. And all of this together is an automation. And so we can like add to this and we can save values. And, if we know that everything is going to be identical every time, then we probably don't even need the AI. You want to recognize like what the different pieces are, the different components, what value they add to your business or this use case, and then remove the ones that aren't useful, because that's only going to make things more difficult to improve or to use later. Okay. So like, let's walk through this. When you're doing these automations, there's always going to be something that starts it. Okay. I don't think I need to explain like what a sequence is. Like, you kind of understand that each one of these is dependent on the one before it. But every one of these projects, they have a trigger here. And a trigger can either be done in one of two ways. It watches when an event happens. The moment you receive that email, it takes action. Okay. Or the second one is you can do it on like a regular cadence, I guess. On like a regular cadence. So there are other examples we can look at where it kicks off every hour, every 2 hours, every day. So those are like the two ways in which it starts. Anyways. Then what we want to do is like we can work with so in this project, what we're basically doing is we wait for the email to come. We parse the email here. We like extract the information that's valuable to us. We put it in a form that's good for the PDF. We make the file, and then we save it. Okay.
For this, we need to send it back to, but we can do that later.
Yeah, we want to send the email. Yeah.
Basically, I just want I gave you a brief overview why we're doing this. Like this installment plan. So what I want for my back office to be able to just fill out, like basically write an email with a certain format in a certain field. It's like, okay, this is the interest, this is the amount that's due, and blah, blah, blah. And this is the person who owes us the money. Basically, put this in an email with the right format, send it, and then we work our magic, and then they get the file back sent to them so they can send it out to the customer.
Yeah, so where we are now is, I sent this email to myself. Here's the fields you're kind of talking about.
Yep.
All of this makes sense. We pull this information from an email and we put it in this template. Okay, so what the application does, like you'll have to go in and make this look good. But what the automation does is it finds fields like this and it will replace them with the information from the email. So by the time we get to the end, it looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like what you're going for, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And then, I didn't do the last email step, but that'll be easy.
Yeah.
And so are you ready to like build this? You had a question?
I'm sharing my screen, yeah?
Yeah, you can share your screen. What we'll need to do is like configure a couple of things, like working with Gmail and Google Workspaces, and I'll walk you through that.
Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Right. So I figured at the moment. At the moment, we are saying, okay, watch this email address, yeah?
Yeah, we're saying watch this email, and it's the Gmail trigger. I'm sure it was the only option that you had to select, and it'll say whenever something comes in, let's get it. Okay, so what we want to do is go to parameters, and we want to connect this to our account. And so let's see if sign in with Google works. That would be much easier.
Sign in with Google.
Perfect.
Yes. So select all, I'm assume, yeah?
Yeah, that's the best bet, right? This will just allow you to like save drafts, send and receive emails.
All right, so connection is done.
Great. So, each one of these modules needs a connection to accounts, to systems. That's the step that you're going to have to go through. So when we look at this, there's the poll times. What poll times are is basically how often it's going to check your Gmail. Usually these sites have a limit to the number of times you can do that, like 500 a month. So when is best, every hour, every day, to check this. And what we're going to do is go down to where it says event and it says message received.
Message received, yeah.
So you can kind of change what that is, but for this one, we chose message received. What we want to do is uncheck the phrase simplify, because the way that this is configured, it'll just try to get us like only the title and like the first line. We want the full email body. So now that this is good, we can close this window. Oh, and by the way, at the top it says fetch test event. That's something you'll want to do is like you send emails. You'll want to like send it, see what the data looks like. So let's actually do that now. So if you could send an email to the account that you just created.
Yep.
Because what we're doing now is we're putting these automation steps in place. But now we want to start looking at what the data is that they're sending back and forth. So we can start to know which data to add to our document.
Like a real email or just data test?
Make sure it has a subject and a body. It could be anything.
Yeah. All right, done.
Okay. So let's make sure it's in your inbox, and then we can just click Fetched Test Event. And there you go on the right-hand side. You'll see all the information. A lot of this is not valuable to us, but as you go down, there will be a part that says like HTML, text HTML. Right here.
There's a security alert. That wasn't the email I just sent.
What?
This wasn't the email I sent.
Okay, well, we can go back and test that in a little bit. You know, it's probably still waiting to propagate in the system.
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, you get the first emails. Oh, this is my account. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Okay. So we need this one, yeah? You said HTML?
Yeah, the one that's a little bit lower, but we'll deal with that in a second when we add the next step. You know, this is just showing you that each one of these automations will have data associated with it. And because we're testing, in the top right corner, do you see the little pin, the little sticky note, like in the very top right? That'll say pin data. So this will keep us from having to like restart it every time and send a new email. Okay, cool. So that's all good. If you just click outside of these squares, it'll send us back to like that main board. We can add the next step. So now we're receiving the email. So now we need to get the information from the email. And you can click this plus sign to do that. And so when you are trying to like work with this data, there's two ways to think about it. The first way is if it's going to be the same every single time, you can just like create variables. You know, you can say line 1 is always going to be this value, line 2 is always going to be this value, but I don't really know how things are operating inside of your business or who these people are sending the emails and what kind of processes you have. So the way that I built this was we added a ChatGPT model that's going to be able to search for these fields inside of the emails. So if there's a tiny deviation, it will still work. You with me so far?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is click on that plus. So there's like the part that says what happened next. Type in OpenAI. Right at the top. And we have tons of different options here. We don't need to get into this now, but what we want to do is message a model.
Message.
Right, text actions. We're going to message the AI model, and it's going to give us a response back. So go ahead and claim your credits at the top, so we don't have to like actually log in and like get an API key. We should just be good to go. So now what we need to do when we're working with AI inside of these automations is choose the model and set a prompt, right? I'm sure you're familiar with these things.
Yeah.
So all we really need is text and the model from the list. Choose one. Classify text. So yeah, message is like what we want right now. And then if we click choose, you know, probably just one of these is going to be best if that's our only options. You know, 4.0 mini is fine, 4.1 is fine. It's super simple. So now we want to give it a prompt. And you've got to kind of figure out how to do your own best prompting. There are tons of stuff to learn it, but I've put one together for this use case that we can use here. Okay. And I'm going to kind of explain how it works. Do you have any questions, by the way?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And if I'm talking too much, just tell me.
No, that's all good.
Awesome.
You're going to send it over in the chat, or how should we do it?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, do you actually like want to read the prompt and understand it, or do you just want to use it? I'll just send it over in the chat.
Let's see. This is the chat. This is the prompt.
Yeah, it should be a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we can go through it quickly to understand a bit. No, your task is data analysis and science. Great information from the email. If the key does not have a okay, and then why are you switching to JSON?
Because we basically want to map specific values to specific variables inside of the document. Okay, and so that really is just the easiest to use these tools with, because they have so basically we have two options, right? We can tell ChatGPT find the right values and just output it in like a list or bullets or whatever you think is best. The second option is we tell it explicitly to output the information it finds in a structured object where it knows in these, it can parse through it. It can scan through the structured object and say, every time I see this property, it's going to have this value. Every time I see this keyword, I know that it maps exactly to that matching keyword inside of the document. And so these automations, they could be out of order, or they could just be difficult to find on the same line and in the same sentence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And
I understand. Okay.
Go ahead.
Good. Yeah.
And so then what I say, it's like, here's your task structured in JSON. I supplied that same table that you gave me because I wasn't sure if the emails that people would be sending would all be in German or would all be in English, or whether the actual value would be in English or German. And so the table shows like German label, English label, example of what it is.
Well, this, for your understanding, this is just the name of the company and the address. So it doesn't really matter English or German. These values are also here. It's just a person again,
right?
And so we don't really have the field any translation issues. It's just dates and numbers. But in the email itself, I want to structure it a little bit like this. Because in our system, I can build templates. And
cool. Okay.
What I want to do is basically just have them fill out these forms. Yeah, we normally structure them like what's English, enter value. I think this is the normal format that we use. Yeah. So and then I would just say, okay. Amount due, for example, and then customer, and then same again, and I can leave our employees like hints in here. It's like, okay, customer name and address. So and then here is I would write amount due.
Nice.
So, and then basically that's what they would get at the end, what we would send. Yeah. So just like a list of this, and so I have it rather structured for the AI.
And so go ahead. Yeah, and so Daniel, these are decisions that you need to make as the person implementing these systems inside of your business or for your employees. You can add more structure like you're doing in these emails with this very specific list. You can add that up front, and it means the automation on the back end is going to be simpler and you can do it faster. Or the opposite of that is you can make them, they could enter whatever they want, however they want in any language, but then you're going to have to do more work on the back end with the automation. Right. So these are just things to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah. I wanted to start with a simple task for the beginning.
Smart man.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then we go. I can do that later. We're here. Okay. So this is the prompt. Understood?
So this is the prompt, and so now with So now we're moving to the second step, and we want to transfer data from each step to the step after it. You remember we looked at those email values earlier?
Yeah.
Like with these automations, you're always going to be moving data from step to step to complete the process, right? It needs information in order to take action. So if we go to the left, where it's like this gray box, it says input. This is obviously the input from the last section. Okay, and it'll output something that goes to the next step. So here we want to find that HTML. Yeah, and the way that or the HTML or the text, right? They're both similar. And we want to drag and drop that into the box where our prompt is. So it's input into the actual prompt that we're sending to the AI model. So it has, so the GPT will have the model and then the actual email below it that it needs to complete this step. So when we go into the center here, where it says prompt, right? Scroll all the way down to the bottom and it'll end. And then we want to enter, enter, enter. And that'll just be like where we'll drag and drop the information. And let me make sure. Okay, I think you're missing a piece. Hold on. But yeah, before we do that, you see it says to, from, subject. Yeah, scroll down a little bit. Okay, I think we went past it. So scroll up a little bit, please. Yeah, so there we go. Just like where it says text.
How do you know? Because we have text here. We have text here. We have. I also saw text.
I'm just like making assumptions, right? You can't really see a lot, but when you see the other text, it's the second text example you sent. It was under the field 2. So Google is probably just giving us like the email address, a text version of the email address, some techie information, but because this is at a high level, it's its own kind of thing. Yeah, so you dragged it over there and you see it says JSON.text. The way that N8N works is it has like little code snippets to manage these values.
Okay.
But it looks like you're missing a little bit of the prompt I sent over. I think we just ran out of space. So give me 1 second.
Yes, you can send it on Discord.
Wow, Discord would definitely be the best. And there you go. You should like be able to expand it. It explains what the output needs to look like, which is probably the most important.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we write these texts, it's pretty much just like three steps to the structure. Like here's who you are. You're a scientist. You're a data engineer. Here's your task. Here are the details to complete it. Here's what the output should look like. And here's the actual additional information. So we should be good. Let's move on, shall we? We can click back to Canvas in the top left.
This we leave as is, yeah. Role. What does the role do?
The role is like who you're sending the message as. So user is like me typing in the chat box when I'm using ChatGPT. If it's assistant, that is more for like additional context, and it won't actually take action on that. That's where I'd put information like always ignore periods. So I don't have to keep typing that every time.
Okay, understood. Then we go back to Canvas.
Then we go back to Canvas, and I think this is the tricky part. But what we'll want to do now is actually, we want to go and hit the plus.
Yeah.
And type in edit fields. Edit fields should be the module we need.
Okay, what does it do, edit fields? Is it basically, it gives you the output?
It's going to set a different format for the output. So you saw when we dragged and dropped that variable that little value into the prompt, we need to make sure that each of these boxes and steps has the data formatted that way. You know, because we want to have a specific value mapped to a specific field in the document. We want to set those explicitly as variables. We just don't want to say the whole object, the whole output is going to be sent into this document, right? We want to be able that we can be very clear with what goes where. And we do that by setting variables. Okay. So in order to do this, we're going to add fields and stuff, but let's click this execute previous nodes. Let's see what that does. That'll kind of give us an idea of what ChatGPT will output. Perfect, right? Well, I guess there's no actual value, but that's fine. You see here, like it says content. This is what ChatGPT gives us. Like the content, it has like all the properties, okay, all the names that are being used to reference the values. And that's all we really need for right now. So because it's all in one body of text using these AI models, it's all going to be just one big block of text. We need to put that into these variables that we can drag and drop into our document. Okay.
Understand.
So
why isn't it that you, from my understanding, how I would go about this, I would say, okay, this is, I would generate the email, the actual email that I would send with obviously some test data. Wouldn't that make our lives a little bit easier to work with actual data?
Yeah, I mean, we can go back and see if that new email is ready for it to work with, right? So we can close this. We can go back to this first step.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what we have, this Daniel.
I mean, you mean this?
No, the email that you sent at the beginning of the time we worked together. Right, so we want to re-execute the workflow so we can get the new data with the actual values you sent over. So if we click execute step, let's see what happens.
So we move the pin here, yeah?
Yeah.
Fetch data.
And if we scroll down, maybe it will be different.
Yeah, that's the subject. That's the email I sent.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so then let's pin this data. And then we can right click on this, or we can even just click the play. Yeah.
And then field, open this one, yeah? How do you re-execute this?
Re-execute this.
Sorry?
Yeah, I don't know why. Let's click execute step. It'll reset it. Okay, so go back, close this. Open this little ChatGPT box. We probably still have that one set over here. So let's do execute step at the top. It should overwrite this value on the right side. Still nothing?
No. But it's showing here the email that I sent. That's the subject. But sure. Well, I sent an email with not real data, yeah? I mean, that's also, I was going to make one.
Oh, I can send you that email just so we save time.
Oh yeah, cool, man. Send it.
Okay.
Send it to what is that's the email message on. Yeah.
Now we got to go back to the email step.
And unpin this. Fetch data. Yeah. Okay. So then fetch data. Yeah, that's your email.
Perfect. Let's pin it. Let's make sure we don't have to do it again. Yeah, let's run that. And then we should see something a little bit different when we open this up.
Yes, perfect. Nice.
Okay, perfect. So this is the thing, like we have to do a little bit of legwork for this because there's a lot of these variables, and I don't know if it would make sense for you to copy and paste it. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of time, is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you how this works. You can do one of the fields for your example, and then I'm just going to send you this whole solution afterwards, so you don't have to sit here and waste your time. Make sure that everything is in the same place. We have these keywords, right? It's like exactly like that fill in the blank that you had.
Yeah.
Okay, so inside of our automation, we are creating keywords. Okay, and each one has its own keywords. That's why we have it in this formatted way. So we can come in here and we can say parse this. So like the thing with N8N is it's a bit more technical than the other platforms. So you'll have to learn like a little bit of this JSON code because it uses like JavaScript. But you can just go into ChatGPT. You can say like, ChatGPT, how do I extract this property from a JSON? Okay. But the way that we got here is like we just come down inside of the fields. You saw this, add fields, name.
Okay, so from my understanding is how to structure this is I have a PDF, yes, and I know which fields I need to be filled out. So what you did or what we did now is say, okay, the first field I need to fill in. It could be as well text field 1, yeah, and then structure and say text field to 12. Basically, now we have told ChatGPT that he's data analyst and blah blah blah, and he will get these values. And now what we have to do, because it's all in a text format in a block, we need the automation to find these text fields that we have named. Now what's it? Schuldnername. Yeah, could have been also text field 1. Yeah, and tell it what the output of that field needs to be, or what it actually is. I'm not 100% sure what step this is.
Right. So
what is new reformatting?
Yes, it is reformatting. That's
okay.
right. So, the way that it goes is the data, it's messy in the email. It could be in any format in the email. Then it takes the information, puts it in a structured format. And now we're putting it in a format that's good for N8N.
Right. Okay, understood.
Okay. So basically what this fields step is it takes it from text and it puts it into these nice little blocks that we dragged and dropped earlier.
Okay, understood.
Because that's the only way we can like pass the values across steps. Okay. So like I'll send these to you later, but basically all it's saying, it's like inside of, can I zoom in? That'd be dope. Inside of our content, find the property name, right? Inside of our content, find our property name.
All right. So we have got this one done. So next is, you said, now that we have the
there. Yeah, now we have the template. Now we want to make a copy of that so we can start changing things in it. So if you go to Google Drive, a new Google Drive step, there should say copy file at the very first one.
So you actually need to understand, okay. Yeah, sources file, shared drive, okay.
Unlucky. All right, so now we need to actually connect Google Drive to N8N. Because we mentioned earlier, like N8N is like more technical. We actually have to go into the platform and get like little snippets of code. That one. And now we need to change to the Google Drive account that you're going to want to save these documents in. It doesn't need to be that new email, I don't think. This would probably be the one you are using now.
I don't know what we use for the company. Yeah, but let's just use this one.
Okay, cool. So we're in here, and now we need to create a project, you know, that we're going to create a validation key for. So in the top left, it says select project. We want to click top right, new project. Name it whatever you want. Create.
Okay.
Perfect. Now we need to basically authorize this app to access our Google Drive. The way that we do that is by clicking the little cheeseburger in the top left, APIs and services. APIs and services. You just passed it. Towards the top. Here, enabled APIs and services. At the top, it says enable, I keep saying it, APIs and services. And now you want to type in Google Drive. And then there you go, Google Drive API. Enable. And now we want to go back one step and go and search for Google Docs. Google Docs API.
Okay, done.
Done. So now we want to authorize N8N to access this. So on the left, it says OAuth consent screen. You know, on like that left menu, it's the second to last one. Down, 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 right there. And we just got to like put in a bunch of nonsense values here. Click get started, app name, email. Do external. Next. Okay, now we actually need to create the credentials that we paste into N8N. So we want to go back to that menu in the left-hand side.
Entire one.
And again, APIs and services. APIs and services, it sets credentials.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to click create a new credential at the top. And we want to click OAuth client ID. Application type, web application. Let me double check. Yeah, web application. We want to have authorized redirect URIs. Click add URI, the second option. This one. And now we need to go back to the N8N document and copy a value. It is this value in the center. And we're good to go. and it will give us a client ID and a secret key. This is what we copy and paste. You may want to save these for later because you'll have to go through this whole process again if you lose these.
So then client ID and service. Sign in.
Yeah, and then sign in with Google.
Now it allows me to sign in with Google.
Yeah, bro, I don't know. I think you need both pieces of information.
Okay, it says it's not been done.
Is this the same one that you were using in the console?
Yeah. It says the Google wasn't saved. Let's just go again.
We just want to double check everything. So like go to audience. Add a user, add a test user there. Make sure it's the same email that you signed in with your N8N account. Well, while we're here in the Google Cloud, yeah, okay.
Google hasn't verified this app.
Given to it. It's currently being tested. You should only continue if the developer invited you. That's an improvement. Okay, continue.
Select all. Let's go. There we go.
Oh, all right.
Maybe it just needed some time, or it was that user.
Feeling lucky today. Cool. So now we're all set up. So we should be able to select the file, the template, and then we can select a name. And you can, this is like whatever you want it to be. I put in I created a dynamic variable here. So on Discord, you can see what the JavaScript is.
She should have the PDF here, yeah? Nice.
Well, it's not a PDF yet. It's just a Google Doc file. And so there's an extra step where we turn it into a PDF. So now we click here and we want to go to Google Docs, and there's a thing called change custom variables, or it's one called update document.
Google Doc, this, yeah? Update a document.
Yeah.
Again, log in.
You should just be able to select the same credentials, right? Go back. Are we going to have to go through this again? All right.
Yeah. All right, so nice. That one's done. Resource is a document, I assume.
Resource is a document, operation update. And so it says doc ID or URL. You're going to drag the ID from the previous field.
Okay.
Okay, so it knows what document to update. And then as we go down, this is like the same thing that we did for getting the information from ChatGPT. So I'll have to find the actual field references, but you know, when you go into the document, you'll see the names in the brackets and you need to get the variables. So let me share my screen real fast.
These ones, yeah, you mean?
Yeah, but let me share my screen real fast. There's like some nuance here. Document here. We need to take each of these brackets and we go copy. We go here. We go add action, select action, find and replace text in the document. The old text is the brackets, you see?
Mhm.
The new text,
Is that one? Ah, the
we
mapping
go to
actually
edit
starts.
fields, and then we drag name over.
I understand now.
And we need to do this for each one.
Where's PDF? Basically, it's a signature date. Yeah, I could just add a field here saying required solution ID. But if I wanted to add the current date to it, how would I go about doing that?
Mm-hmm. You want to just add it anywhere or like in a specific place in the document? Like to replace a variable.
Ah, then I would have to, because if
Damn. And in like a previous version, there's a field that you can use, which is like today's date. Oh, I got it. Okay. So in Discord, I'll show you. You know, if you had one.
I would, okay. Then I just go add action. Yeah, and I have replace the old text. This will be the new text. This will be the new text, but I put the, this will be it. Okay. Okay, understood.
Yeah, so I really think going with these variables is a good approach to take. If you want to insert information, you'll have to understand how to structure it in like HTML or Markdown language, which is like, you know, you got to understand how that works. But it looks like something was broken. So delete this first one. It's up, right here, the first action.
Yes.
No,
The
this one. There should be a trash can in the top left. Okay, let's try this. Cool. So let's go look at that document. And if we scroll up,
I'm in the template, I think. Oh, I need to be looking at this one here. Oh, yes. Nice. Very fucking nice.
very cool. And then last step should be the easy one.
How do I go about getting a decimal place here? So have a look at this.
.00.
Yeah, and I think in the US you have comma. So you need 1,000.
Sure. So, you know, probably three things. The first one is just make sure your guys do that when they're entering information. The second, right, which is like, maybe it'll happen. The second one is we can prompt GPT to say, you know, make sure that any number has the appropriate decimal points added. The third one, though, is we can actually change that format to a number when we're mapping it to variables. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
But let me, I'll add a note here. Double check how to add decimal points.
What it hasn't found was the signature date. I think that's just because we didn't create the copy yet. It's fine.
And remember, you can always pay me after hours, and I can just fix all of this for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
right.
at a later stage, I will definitely have to do that anyways. But for the beginning, I really want to understand.
No, 100%, man. Like when I'm building my business or like I need to hire somebody, I always say, you know, I'm going to do it first, get to a good level so I understand, you know, what I'm hiring for and what they need to do. I think that's smart. Okay, 2 more steps. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
So
you're done. Now that we have the correct file,
now we need a PDF. So we want to add another step. Go to Google Drive, type in Google Drive, and there should be a task to download a file. Download a file, and we'll be able to file, download. We don't want to select a file from the list. We want to instead go by document ID. So it says from list, click that, say by ID. And then we drag and drop that document ID. Where it says update a document.
This one? Can you change one? This
document
one?
ID, yeah.
Yeah, okay, understood.
Okay, so now we want to add options. And this is put output Google file conversion. That's what we want.
Add conversion.
Let's see what we got here. PDF. There's drawings, JPEG. So that should be good to go. Output data file and field. What does that say? Okay, it's not there. So yeah, let's execute step. Okay, data, good enough. So we don't have it yet. What that step does is it basically downloads it to N8N so we can use it in other steps, but it's not a real file yet. So we need to upload it now. We need one more step. And so we go to Google Drive, upload file.
And how do you find all these steps? Do you ask like ChatGPT beforehand? Because this I would never find out that you have to actually download the file first and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it is just, I guess, thinking rationally through it, right? It's like, okay, you know, the documents are going to be stored in Google Drive. It's obviously going to be a Google document. You know, we don't want to create a new document every time. There's probably a similar format we want every time. So let's just duplicate a template. How do we replace those fields? Yeah, variable makes sense. And then, you know, when I have an idea, I'll search in those bars on the right-hand side. You know, if I type download file, there's going to be 6 different tools that will show up that download files. Or, you know, if you type in convert to PDF, you'll get 10 different tools by different apps that can each convert a PDF. You know, I realized that we were staying in the Google ecosystem, so let's choose the one for the Google Drive. But I mean, a lot of it is just finding what other people have done. You know, I'll think through how I'm going to solve the problem, and then you can just do like rational searches. Like there's a lot of templates that people have on GitHub. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of people in like N8N forums explaining how they do things. So it's like thinking through what you actually need, finding a good reference, and then tweaking it to your own specific needs.
Okay. Understood. Nice. Very nice.
Okay, cool. So
what I don't 100% understand yet is how do we make it to a PDF? Where does it say that it...
Sure. So close this window and you see where it says copy file, right? At Google Drive, it says copy file. We're working the entire time we're doing this, we're working with the cloud documents. Okay, so it's just like a Google Doc that we're creating and copying the whole time. And what we do in order to get it in a PDF is we're literally going into, you know, I'm gonna share my screen. So like what the whole process is we're basically working in this document and we're editing fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm editing fields. That's what the automation is doing, just like me typing here. And I can stay and I can work in this space, but we added an extra step where we're literally clicking File, Download, Download as PDF. Because up until I click Download as PDF, this is just a Google Doc document. It's nothing specific.
Yeah, we did it here. Sorry, yeah, I forgot. Okay, understand.
And so then once we download that, we're not actually downloading it to the computer. We're downloading it to like the workspace that N8N is in, and then we need to re-upload it.
Understand.
Right? So you don't even need to upload this to a Google Drive folder, right? You could just replace this last step, the upload file, with a Gmail step, right? Because if you click Gmail, like we can do that now, by the way. Let's do that. So click the last plus button and we'll send an email.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix this date. Why is this a month? Check. It gives me the month as 45. I'm assuming that's a format issue, but
That seems like a formatting issue because that wouldn't be a day or a month. Now to format day, month.
yeah, now it works. Now it says it was just capital letters.
Interesting.
It's done. Okay, now that we have the PDF, we want to send it back. Is there a we want it back? We send it back to the sender.
Yeah, let's do it. Type in Gmail.
Is it possible to actually reply to this email that we just received, to that specific email?
So you see how the whole time we've been able to reference values and data from all the steps, right? We still have the data and the reference to the very first email we received, okay? Including the specific identification of that specific email. So, you know, we need to look at it, but we should be able to by referencing that specific email. So if we type in Gmail, let's see if, there you go, reply to a message.
Ah, nice. Oh, yeah, of course. That's perfect.
So Gmail account.
Source message.
Reply. Message ID. Okay, this is a good example. So now over here, we can close that, go all the way to the beginning, and then there's the ID. Okay, so we have the text that we send, and then we can probably add an attachment by adding an option.
Yeah, a message. Message, is this the text message or what is this?
This would be the body of the email.
Of the new email, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Plan done. Let's go.
Don't forget an emoji.
Yes. Can you do emojis here? Rocket.
Classic.
Okay.
Classic.
Classic rocket. There we go. And attachments.
And so then
it always has to reference this one, that file I uploaded by ID. ID is too specific, right?
No, we want to attach the actual document, right? So we'd go to the step before that where we downloaded the PDF. Okay, so let's go down. Like, what options do we have? Field name, data. What's that say? It says the name of the field with the attachment in the node input. Okay, let's just try this.
How do we know that it's that specific one? Because we're gonna have hundreds of PDFs in that.
Let's get this email to work. So click out of this. So what I realized is like the download file, you know, the actual file that it downloads only is transferred for one step, not two. So we lose it by the time we get to the second step. So what we can do is we can right where it says generate PDF, the step after that, put your mouse on the line between the two connectors. Nope, close this. Where it says up, hit the trash icon. And so now they're not connected. And do the same for the one before Gmail. And then you should just be able to like drag that over and swap their place.
So this?
Yeah. And if you like move that plus over to that, and then if you open up the Gmail again, now we have the data, and now we have the data. And when you click execute step, it'll work.
Okay, how did you find this out? How did you troubleshoot this?
I just clicked it. So like when I went over, I went back. I'm just going to share my screen. I'm just going to show you kind of how I did it, right? Because I had the same thing here, right? Generate PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to like actually show you how to do this, right? Because if you can't, if you don't understand how to do the troubleshooting or how to like assess each one of these, then it's going to be useless for you, you know, because the way that you build these systems is like you have an idea of how it will work, and then it won't work the exact same way, and then something will be, and then you'll have to go back and fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I come in here, right? And I say attachment, right? I see it says attachment. I know that in an email, an attachment is not text, right? This is a file, right? This is data, right? It's not text. So I saw this and it's like data, right? It has this pre-populated for a reason. Where have I seen this value before? I've seen it here. You with me so far?
Yes, I'm with you.
Right? There's like consistent naming conventions in each one of these steps that it's expecting. And so then I'm like, okay, let's see if I can find the data. Okay, let me go to my previous values. Generate PDF. Okay, nothing here says data. It's expecting data. Where's data? Okay, it's not in the previous step. But let's go back to the previous step. Let's compare the two modules. You know, I'm comparing the two modules to see what their inputs are and what their outputs are. Okay, so you look at the module, you see what is it expecting. The fields are pre-populated by this tool because it wants something very specific. What are the inputs and what are the outputs? And I see that in a previous step, it has the input that I want. But, but the step that I want is in here. So which one of these steps has the data that I want? Which one of these steps has the predefined variable that I'm looking for? You know, like when I'm here and I want to say, or like the better example is it's like, well, I'm sending a message. You know, let's say I want to figure out, I want to put the sender's email address in the body. Okay, I want to send this to the original person, right? I know that there's lots of variables here, you know, the sender's email address, it's not working, right? I can't find it. Is it in this step? Is it in this step? Okay, I'm seeing like the data values that are here. You know, is the data value that I'm looking for in this other step? Okay, yes, it is. You know, so like the thing is like first you want to have a clear idea of what the behavior is that you're looking for. Okay, in the example with the PDF, I know that I want to send a file in the email, not a text message. Then I say, what data do I have available? Is that variable or like that function or the information that I need in order to complete that task available to me in this step? No, it's not. Is it available in other steps? You know, can I reuse something that has already been built before? And then you kind of go through the other modules And then if it's not in what you've already built, is there a tool that already exists? You know, because I can always come in here, add a module, and I can say, you know, PDF attach. You know, I can see if somebody else has solved the problem before. And then there's always code you can write.
So basically, having, if something doesn't work, see what is required and see where you can find it.
Yes.
That's where experience comes in, huh? That's,
yes. Know what you're solving, know what you need to solve it, and then know where, and then find a place where that's already available. And this is where it goes into what you were saying earlier with how do you figure it out, right? If the information or like the data values that you're looking for are not in your automation, maybe they're in an automation that somebody else has already built and they've made a video about it, or they've talked about it in the forums, and you can reuse steps that they've already created. And then if that's not available, there's always computer code you can write, but I don't know if you want to go so far.
At the moment, not. But probably at a later stage, it will become inadvertible. Yeah, but I mean, for now, I am good. Yeah, this will help me a lot.
Cool, man. So try this out in the wild, you know, have some of your guys look at it, put it in your workflows. And if anything is like wonky or not where you want it, I'll fix this, right? I'll do the research, I'll fix it for you, and we'll keep going the way that we have. I think we've got a good cadence.
Yes, it's a lot of understanding from my side. I'm excited to get this thing working. I would just continue now.
All right, man.
Get it.
Awesome. I'm glad I could help. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
Adrian, take care. In terms of